Hi, my friend. Are you ready to be found online wherever your dream clients are searching? Are you looking to make your marketing make sense? Do you want to be able to confidently make decisions about your marketing so that you can stop wasting your time and money and really know what to focus on to grow your business? If so, you are in the right place, and I am so excited to have you here. Let's jump right in. Do you have a podcast that costs you money each month and you find yourself wondering how in the world to make money with it? You hear people talk about their podcasts are these great lead generators. They make lots of money off them. They prioritize them because they work so well for the business. Whereas you're looking at yours and kind of feeling a little bit guilty when that Buzzsprout invoice comes through or your Descript invoice comes through and you're like, oh gosh, I spent money and I haven't made anything yet. Or maybe you're paying somebody to produce it for you. So you really are spending hundreds or thousands of dollars a month on a podcast and you're starting to wonder if you should just get rid of it because it costs you money every month. If you are, I want you to know you're not alone. I actually had this conversation recently with one of my one-on-one clients. They have a podcast. They've not really done a lot with it. There's a ton of potential, but they said, you know what, it's here and it just costs me money. And I don't want to put any more time or effort into it until I figure out how to monetize it. And I said, well, it's really easy to monetize it. So let's talk about that and let's walk through the process. And I thought a little bit of insight into that conversation might be helpful for you as well, because maybe you have a podcast or maybe you've been thinking about creating a podcast and you're kind of wondering if it actually is profitable, if you actually can do it and make money and like if it's worth it. So I'm going to tell you from my perspective, it's absolutely worth it. I love my podcast and I love you for listening to it. And I would love it if you have not yet reviewed it. Would you do me that favor and like even pause right now? It's probably better for the algorithm if you don't pause, but you know what? Go ahead and give me that review and rating, subscribe, follow. Like all of those signs are so good for the algorithm. They're so good for the podcast app. And it's your way of helping me just a little bit so that I can continue bringing you helpful information. There's my shameless plug. You know what? We all have to do what we can to boost our visibility. So back to your podcast for a moment, or the podcast you're thinking about creating. What I want you to understand is when podcasts make money, it's because we're doing certain things. We're very, not rigid, but we're very structured in our approach. We are creating content on a regular basis. We're very strategic with the type content that we're creating. We are getting those episodes out at the same time on the same day each week so that it becomes predictable for our audience. Because as a podcaster, you want to come into someone's life and you want to be part of their weekly routine. And when you do that, it does make it easier for your podcast to grow. So you know, my new episodes come out on Tuesdays. For the last, I think I'm on 4 years since I started this. Every episode has come out on a Tuesday. So this is the 4th year that we're just starting. Every Tuesday there's been an episode. Even during like the holiday breaks, I re-release an old one. There have been consistently, I'm trying to think, where am I at right now? 177 episodes that have come out. This is episode number 177. That's a whole lot of content over the last couple of years. So what you want to think about with your podcast is you want to be consistent. You want to create new episodes at whatever cadence you determine you're going to use, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it is. Be consistent. Let your audience know when they can expect to see that episode. I'm going to release a new episode every Tuesday. I'll release a new episode every Friday. I don't necessarily recommend Friday. It's a little harder to really get that visibility on the weekend. but let them know when they're going to be able to find it. Email them, let them know there's a new episode. Like, let them know that it's there, but become part of their routine. I love it when I hear from you and you tell me when you listen. So if you're listening right now and you always listen on your commute on Tuesday afternoon, and you always listen on your commute on Wednesday morning, or you listen while you work out or while you take your walk, whatever it is, I would love it if you DM me on Instagram and let me know, when do you listen? And then also, like, which episodes do you like the best? Which ones are the most helpful to you? I always love to have that info and really understand what works, what questions you have, what other topics I could talk about here. Because I'll be honest, this is episode number 177. That's a lot of topics to cover over the course of several years. So I'm always looking for ideas. This is what you want to do with yours as well. You really want to encourage people to listen, to join in, to like it, to follow, to review, to give you a rating. All the different things that I talk about on here are things you should be doing on your show as well. Now let's talk about how you actually make money from your podcast. So the first thing I want to talk about is you want to make sure that your show is visible. So I had this conversation with somebody actually in my mastermind recently, has a show, is realizing that their show is a really good nurturing tool for their business. Like, if they can get people listening to their show, they can get consult calls for coaching. She's a life coach. And so if she can get people listening to her show, she's more likely to get consult calls. So I was like, that's awesome. And that's what I see as well. What is your show called? And she gave me the name of her show. And I was like, okay, honey, we need to change the name of the show. At least I recommend you change the name of your show, because right now I don't know who your show is for. I don't know what it's about. And if I look at it, I don't know that this would actually help me. So the first thing we really want to think about is we want to be pretty straightforward with our show names, rather than being really cutesy or trying to have, alliteration or anything like that. So my show is Marketing for Entrepreneurs, and that is exactly what I talk about here. All sorts of marketing topics for you, my entrepreneur friend. Most of my entrepreneurs are solopreneurs. Most of you have been in business for a few years. You're not brand new. And what I'm finding from all my research and talking to students and working with clients, most of my people are professional service providers, and a lot of us escaped from corporate. And we enjoy the fact that we've escaped from corporate and we have more flexibility. So you want to really think about who is the person that you're trying to connect with, and what are the ways that they self-identify. So do they identify as, a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a business owner, an online business owner? Like, really think about that and try to use some of those terms in your show name. So it's very possible you may need to update your show, especially if you've got one and it's not doing anything. What do you have to lose? Like, my show name has been changed a couple of times over the last few years. The next thing you want to think about, so it's the show name, and then we want to think about the visibility. What are the keywords that somebody would search when they think of or are in the app and are looking for information related to your topic? And I have a great example of this. I have a student of mine who is a binge eating coach, and she had a podcast. It was great. It was doing really well. She was not one of those who had a podcast that was not working. But it didn't have the word binge eating in it. It had the word binge, but it did not say binge eating. And so I talked to her about it. And I said, you know what? I really think you should change that and make it binge eating, and then the rest of the show name. And she did. And she's now ranking at the top of the charts for her topic area. So sometimes just making sure that you're using the term that your person would be searching makes a huge difference. So that's the first thing we want to just make sure that your show is visible. Now we want to talk about content, because I'm going to be really honest, having the correct content strategy is the key. What we want to think about is, what does our podcast listener need to hear from us? What information do they need? Which is why I always ask you to tell me what questions you have, because I want to create the episodes that are going to help you. So what I look at is, we want to be strategic when we're creating our content. I do not create it from the seat of my pants. I do not pull it out of thin air. I don't do any of that. I actually sit and I look at my data, and I do my reader surveys, and I look at my chat logs from the webinars, and I take my questions from my one-on-one clients, my questions from students, and questions that people submit. All of that comes together into a big document that gives me all sorts of ideas. And I keep track of those ideas. And then I pick out which ones do I see thematically? Where do I see the most themes, the most similarities? And I start looking at that and grouping them. So for me, I've chosen 4 topic areas. I generally speak about SEO, AI SEO, or some of the changes to search engine optimization now that we also are focusing on like Google overviews and we're looking at search coming from ChatGPT and Perplexity and places like that. I talk about podcasting and I talk about marketing metrics or like my business mindset I'm going to be talking about. I haven't shared with you. I am in the process of becoming a certified life coach. And so I'm going to be doing business coaching in addition to marketing consulting because I've had the opportunity to really delve into business mindset over the last couple of years. I've started working one-on-one with a coach. It's been the most helpful thing I've ever done. And I cannot wait to bring that to you as another offering. So I can be your business coach. Isn't that a fun idea? So those are the type content topics that I talk about. Now, the reason that I cover those particular topics is they tie back to the business. You want to think about this too. So the AI SEO and the SEO content, that all ties back to Simple SEO content. You know, that's my group program where we learn all about search engine optimization, what type of content to put on our websites, how to create this type content strategy for your business. We also make sure that we get your lead generation tracking set up so you can start to see where your leads are coming from and know that what you're doing is paying off. We look through and we learn like all about the reporting and all of that. So you really know that, oh, what I'm doing is actually working and it really is growing my business. So that's that side. Then on the podcasting one, there's the Simple Podcast SEO program. It's a really quick class. It's fairly easy for you. It walks you through all of it. It's a self-study program that just walks you through how to optimize your podcast, how to be more visible in the podcast app, how to get more downloads, how to grow your show. If you don't have a show yet, there's actually a section in there that walks you through like the best practices for building out your podcast. Or if you've done one on your own and you're not sure if you've done it the right way, that bonus walks you through that as well. The final section I talk about is a lot of business strategy. We're going to be talking more about business coaching topics, more mindset. That area is all tied to a combination of like the one-on-one work that I do. So the business strategy, the marketing consulting, the business coaching, and also the group marketing program that I'm working on developing. That is like ready to go. I just am probably going to launch it in the fall. I've been playing around with it, trying to decide exactly when it's coming out, but it's going to be a really exciting program that will help you really be able to work in that group environment so that we can keep the price a little more affordable than one-on-one work. And it will allow you to dig into what do you want to achieve in your business, what's working, what's not working, and then what's stopping you? Where are you getting stuck? And that's why I want to wait until after I'm done with my coaching certification so that I can really, truly help you with why are you stuck? Let's figure out what's going on the mindset of it. But that's what you want to think about is like, what do I offer? How can I put it all together from a thematic standpoint? What type topics do people ask about? What questions do they have? How do I nurture people? Because if you can get people, at least I know if I can get people listening to the podcast, they're more likely to decide they want to work with me at some point. And I see that with my students as well. I talked about the Binge podcast. She actually just got a new client recently who found her on ChatGPT. They were actually asking, and she's done both programs. She's done the Simple SEO content and Simple Podcast SEO. So she's done both. So her website is very well optimized. Her podcast is very well optimized. She's ready to be found everywhere. So she actually has a new client who was searching on ChatGPT, looking for some support, looking for some help, and was recommended her podcast. They went over to the app, they searched, they immediately found her because she's done her SEO, she's super visible. They had they listened to a bunch of the episodes because she understood what type of content to create. So she had what that person was looking for. She had the help that they needed. They listened to a bunch of episodes and then they reached out to her on Instagram and sent her a message and asked, "Are you taking new clients? Because I really want to work with you." And she told me it was a fantastic sales call. And she got that new one-on-one client, which is worth multiple thousands of dollars because she had done the different programs and was visible when that person was searching for help. She was visible on ChatGPT. She was visible in the podcast app. She's also visible on Google. Like, she was able to be there and help that person find her. And because she knew what content to create, she had the right content there waiting for the person when they went searching. That's what we want to look at, is really making sure that we're visible. We are choosing topics that are going to help our ideal customer. We are nurturing, we're answering questions, we're providing value, and then we're encouraging them to work with us. So if you're sitting here listening to this one thinking, "Rachel, I want to be like that. I want to really be able to get the right people into my world. I want to understand what type of content to create for my website, to show up on ChatGPT, for my podcast, for all of it." There are ways we can work together. You can take Simple SEO content. It will be reopening probably in June. I have a cohort going through right now, so we will be reopening that for the next group, but it's going to be a little while. You can get started on the podcast side of it today if you want to do Simple Podcast SEO. That link is in the show notes. That's available for purchase at any time on the website. If you join Simple SEO content, you can get into it right now. You just will be starting a week or two into the new cohort. But if you're interested in that, it's early enough or close enough, you can do that. Just send me a note and let me know and we can talk about it. Or if you'd rather, you don't like groups. I know sometimes people don't like groups. I hear that from my one-on-one clients in particular. I don't like participating in a group. I don't want to ask my questions in front of other people, which I get. There are times I would rather ask my one-on-one coach than post a question and ask my mastermind group with 10 people. So I totally get it. If you're that way and you'd rather work one-on-one, we can do that. Right now, you can find that information on the consulting page on my website. So go to etchedmarketing.com/marketing-consulting. Just go to the website, etchedmarketing.com, and click on the consulting tab. And then there's also business coaching, which we can do the consulting and set it up with the consulting and the coaching both and start talking about all of that. And there will be an official business coaching page coming in the future. I'm just still working on putting everything together because I want to finish my certification. All right, that is it for today. If you found this helpful, I hope you did. If you found this helpful, I would love it if you would do me the favors we talked about a little bit at the beginning. Follow, subscribe, give it a rating, give it a review. DM me on Instagram at Etched Marketing Academy. If you're not following me over there already, go ahead and follow me. That's about the only one I'm really kind of sort of active on. And I don't do a lot, but I do check my DMs. I do pay attention over there. Send me a note and let me know what kind of content you like, what questions you have, what resonated with you. Make sure you're on my email list. So get one of my freebies so that you get the weekly emails so you know what's going on in my world. You know when there are free trainings that'll help you, all of that, because I'm here to help you learn. So let me know how I can help you. And I'll see you back here next week. You better believe the episode is coming on Tuesday morning. All right, bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you took away something very actionable that you can start to use in your business right away. If you want any of the freebies that were mentioned, or you want any of my resources or free trainings, you can find those at etchedmarketing.com/freebies. If you would like to work together, I would love to work with you. Send me a note, reply to an email, DM me on Instagram. You know how to find me. I would love to help you grow your business as well. And if you have found this podcast helpful, would you do me the biggest favor and follow it or subscribe on your podcast app of choice, and then give it a rating and review. That really does help. It's just a little something you can do that helps me out in return. I appreciate it so much. I'll see you back here next week.